The digital name tag is a straightforward piece meant to introduce you to the basic workflow and techniques that'll be used throughout this lab. There's a handful of videos explaining how to set up equipment and move files linked on the website's setup page. If you haven't watched them yet, I suggest you do so before you start recording anything. This may seem like a lot of material to start, but it's fundamental stuff that will be vital in each of your assignments as well as video projects you might work on beyond this lab. To give you an idea, here's what your digital name tag should look like.
Hi, I'm Mr. Wetzel. I attended Heritage High School as well as the Central Virginia Governor School for Science and Technology.
Getting into the specific criteria, your digital name tag should feature a self-introduction shot with a camera on a tripod. It should replicate the sample video structure, that being graphic, transition, introduction, transition, graphic. It should feature audio and video of reasonable quality. It should be a 1920 by 1080 video, an MP4 file specifically, but we'll get to that. And it should be submitted with a screenshot of your completed project's timeline. Think of these screenshots as a means of showing your work. And those files should be properly named. The video should be named last name, first initial, underscore, digital name tag, and the timeline screenshot should be last name, first initial, underscore timeline, underscore digital name tag, or something to that effect. Points won't be deducted for capitalization or spacing, but this is the basic naming convention you'll be expected to follow through all 4 assignments. You can find the due date for this particular assignment as well as the associated quiz listed in the lab's Google Classroom. The amount of media needed for this assignment, as seen in the sample video, is pretty light. But since later assignments won't be so cookie-cutter as this one, I'll make sure to include a list of media components that I use to make each of my sample videos. To make my sample name tag, all I needed was a clip of me introducing myself and a graphic featuring the CVGS Griffin. That same graphic is linked on the website and in the assignments listing in Google Classroom. A note about the self-introduction. It'll come up in the editing guide, but you'll want to make sure you allow a couple of seconds while recording, both before you start talking and after you've finished talking, creating a sort of cushion on either end. It'll help later when you're applying transitions. In addition to these lists of media components, I'll be providing estimates of the amount of time it took me to produce each of the sample videos. These estimates are based on the whole production process, that's planning, setup, shooting, transferring files, editing, and exporting. All told, my sample name tag took 45 to 50 minutes to produce. You should remember though, that I've been doing this a while and I don't have to follow along with a guide, so you'll probably want to budget a bit more time than that to complete this assignment. To wrap up this pre-production breakdown, I want to give you some things to keep in mind when shooting your self-introduction. Consider the environmental noise that could get picked up while recording. What steps might you be able to take to minimize that noise? Consider your lighting. Do you have a strong key light? Is it casting harsh shadows that could be lessened with a fill light? Would a backlight help you stand out from the background? Consider the rule of thirds. Have you framed yourself so your eyes fall along that upper third line? How much headroom have you given yourself? If some of these terms confuse you, then you should probably go watch the setup page videos. In the next video, before jumping into editing proper, we're going to go on a quick tour of Adobe Premiere, show you how to start a new project, and get you familiar with the basic layout of the workspace.